a record breaker, and a nightmare for Jamaica. Meteorological data underscore the extraordinary nature of Melissa's landfall. According to the National Hurricane Center, NHC, Melissa reached sustained winds of roughly 185 miles per hour, 295 kilometers per hour, when it struck Jamaica, tying it for the strongest Atlantic hurricane landfall on record. People.com. +1. The central pressure fell to about 892 millibars, an exceptionally low value that signals extreme intensity. AccuWeather. +1. The storm made landfall near the southwestern coast, specifically near New Hope, Westmoreland Parish, and then proceeded across the island. AccuWeather. +1. According to the Associated Press, its path was projected to enter near St. Elizabeth Parish and exit near St. and Parish, slicing diagonally across Jamaica. AP News. The significance is profound. Jamaica has never before recorded a direct hit by a Category 5 hurricane. Previous storms of high intensity, such as Hurricane Gilbert in 1988, Category 3 at landfall, were far less powerful. People.com. +1. What Jamaica faced: winds, water, and wider havoc. Wind damage and infrastructure collapse. As Melissa barreled in, Jamaican officials warned that there is no infrastructure in the region that can withstand a Category 5. AP News. +1. Already, hospitals and other critical buildings have reported structural damage. For example, one hospital in Black River, St. Elizabeth Parish, reportedly had its roof blown off. Wikipedia. +1. Power has been knocked out to massive swaths of the island. By some estimates, more than 240,000 customers, or around 35% of homes/businesses, went without electricity as the eye passed. The Washington Post. Flash flooding, landslides, and storm surge. Due to its slow forward motion, Melissa brought prolonged heavy rains. Some estimates forecast up to 30 inches, 76 centimeters, or more of rain in affected areas. The Guardian. +1. Storm surge of up to 13 feet, 4 meters, was expected along southern Jamaica. AP News. In St. Elizabeth Parish, flooding was so deep some officials described the area as underwater. The Washington Post. Landslides are also a major concern given the island's mountainous terrain and saturated soils. Evacuation, sheltering, and human toll. Ahead of the storm, the Jamaican government opened hundreds of shelters and issued evacuation orders for vulnerable areas such as Port Royal and Old Harbor Bay. The Guardian. But uptake was low. Fewer than 300 people were reportedly in shelters early on despite more than 800 being available. Time. Tragically, at least 3 people in Jamaica died in storm-related incidents, pre-landfall, and at least 13 were injured. Wikipedia. +1. Economic/livelihood disruption. Preliminary estimates suggest Jamaica may face damages of more than $22 billion, according to meteorologists at AccuWeather. AccuWeather. The tourism, agriculture, and infrastructure sectors will all take major hits. Already transport arteries, homes, and utilities are disrupted. Government response and international assistance. Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness declared Jamaica a disaster area and emphasized the focus will turn rapidly to recovery and rebuilding. The Washington Post. The disaster risk authorities have emphasized that rescue and relief will be hampered by blocked roads, fallen trees, and widespread damage. The Washington Post. International responses are already emerging. Aid agencies, donor governments, and private actors are mobilizing to support Jamaica and neighboring islands in the pathway of Melissa. For instance, news reports noted large-scale evacuations in Jamaica's neighbors and raised alarms of a regional Caribbean emergency. Outages. Why this storm matters. Climate angle and what next. Climate change and storm behavior. Meteorologists say that storms like Melissa, showing rapid intensification, extremely high sustained winds, extremely low central pressures, and slow forward motion, fit worrying trends in a warming world. The conducive conditions of unusually warm Caribbean waters have allowed Melissa to grow into one of the most powerful Atlantic storms on record. Reuters. +1. Recovery will be prolonged and challenging. Officials warn of a long recovery period. Power, roads, hospitals, and homes all need repair or rebuilding. With flood and landslide risk still high as rain bands continue, the timeline for assessing full damage may be days or weeks rather than hours. Government officials in Jamaica have said the speed of recovery will be the true test. AccuWeather. Regional ripple effects. Melissa's path doesn't end with Jamaica. It is now heading toward eastern Cuba, then the Bahamas, and possibly farther north. This means Jamaica's trauma is a foretaste of broader regional impacts. Aid coordination will be complicated across multiple nations. The Washington Post. On the ground. Human stories and community resilience. In Jamaica's southwest, residents described a surreal scene. Roofs peeled off houses, trees lying across ruined roads, and families sheltering in place while the wind howled for hours. In one case, young residents in an exposed area admitted they never felt a storm this severe. When the wind howls, it feels as if the world is falling apart, said a 15-year-old boy in Jamaica. AP News. Transportation is already severely limited. In many parishes, roads are blocked due to flood debris and landslides, making it extremely difficult for emergency services to reach remote communities. According to local officials, the parish of St. Elizabeth appears underwater in many parts, complicating any initial relief efforts. The Washington Post. The tourism industry, a cornerstone of Jamaica's economy, is also facing immediate disruption as resorts and airports shut down ahead of the storm, and now assessing damage in its aftermath. Looking ahead, what to watch? Damage assessments. How long will it take Jamaica to provide a full accounting of infrastructure losses, agricultural hits, and housing destruction? Initial figures are very rough. Aid and rebuilding. Which international partners will step in? What funding will be made available? And how? Critically, will rebuilding address resilience, i.e., making structures stronger for future storms? Climate policy and adaptation. Will the magnitude of Melissa provoke changes in Jamaica's disaster management frameworks, building codes, land use planning, and climate adaptation strategy? Tourism and economy. The tourism sector's response will be critical. How quickly can resorts reopen, and how much will damaged infrastructure, roads, power, airports, delay economic recovery? Regional coordination. Since Melissa is not done, it moves toward Cuba and the Bahamas. How effectively will regional mechanisms coordinate evacuations, share resources, and provide early warning? Community resilience and equity. As always with such disasters, lower income and vulnerable communities tend to bear the brunt. How Jamaica supports them during recovery will matter for social cohesion and long-term resilience. Final word. Hurricane Melissa stands as one of the most powerful storms ever to strike the Atlantic basin, and Jamaica has borne the first major blow. The physical, economic, and human impacts are enormous, and the full scale of loss is still being tallied. But beyond the immediate destruction lies a larger message. The intensifying nature of tropical cyclones in a warming world, the importance of preparation and infrastructural resilience, and the need for rapid, coordinated recovery. For Jamaica, the challenge now is not just weathering the storm but rebuilding stronger. And for the wider Caribbean, Melissa is a wake-up call.